Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome back to the daily readings of Srila Prabhupada's books, right here in the live studios in Hythe, Kent, southeast England, next to the English Channel. We hope that you were all safe, healthy, and happy. I'm relishing the reciprocation I get from your reflections and questions and emails also of appreciation for being able to hear Srila Prabhupada's books cover to cover like we're doing. Reading enough of Srila Prabhupada's purports and the verses cover to cover of the book to help us receive Srila Prabhupada's empowerment, because these books are empowered, and we read them like this, straight through, together with other devotees. We become empowered by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada that comes through his purports, which he called his transcendental ecstasies. So this is how we become happy in such uncertain times, to associate with someone who is fixed on the spiritual platform. And to me that means Srila Prabhupada. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had a very, very high opinion of Sri Caitanya-caritämrta, as do all the bona fide acharyas. But this is especially poetic and sweet glorification that I read every day because it's so meaningful. He said, in due course, Mahapralaya, devastating floods, will inundate the entire universe. If you attempt to survive by swimming in that deluge, then do not neglect to take hold of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Sri Caitanya-caritämrta. Or, if you cannot hold all three, then release Bhagavad Gita. If necessary, you may also relinquish Srimad Bhagavatam, but under no circumstances release your hold on Sri Caitanya-caritämrta. For if this one book remains, then the flood can do no actual harm, because after it is subsided, the message of Shastra can be revived from Sri Caitanya-caritämrta alone, it being the essence of all Shastra. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So we're now on to chapter 2 of Madhya-lila, and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, by his infinite mercy, is giving us a synopsis of the Antya-lila. And we're just in the middle of Lord Chaitanya's soliloquies, in which he spoke like a madman in deepest separation and ecstatic love for Krishna in the mood of Srimati Radharani. So we're starting with text 231. Lucky us. Hare Krishna. Topics about Krishna are like waves of nectar. If such nectar does not enter one's ear, the ear is no better than the hole of a damaged conch shell. Such an ear is created for no purpose. Purport. In this connection, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur quotes the following verses from Srimad Bhagavatam 2:3, 17 through 24. Ayur harati bai pungsang udyan astang chayan nasau tasyarte yat chano nita utama shloka vartaya tadava kim najivanti Bashtrakyam na swashantyati uta na kadanti mehanti kim grame pashavo pare shvavid vara hoshtakadai sangstutak purushak pashuhu nayat karna pratopito jatu namagadadраjaha bile batoru krama bikramam ye nashin vatak kanaputte narasya jivasati darduve kevasuta nachopak gayat chugagaya gataha Bhartu Panam Patakirita Justam Apyutamangam Angam Naminen Makundam Shabao Sadau no Kurute Saparyang Harer Lasat Kanchana Kankanauva Barhayite Te Yanaye Naranam Lingani Vishnu Nadidikshano yatos ye Padao Nrinam Tao Drumajan Mabajao Chetrani Nanu Bajato Haders Yao Jivan Chavo Bhagavatangri Renum Danchatu Marja Bilabeta Jastu Sri Vishnu Padja Manujastu Lasya Shwashan Chavo Yas Tunaveda Gandham Yadash Masadam Hridayam Patedam Yat Griyamanai Harinamadeyari Navikrayeta Tajada Vikaro Netre Jalam Gata Riheshu Harshaha. Both by rising and setting, the sun decreases the duration of life of everyone except one who utilizes the time by discussing topics of the all-good personality of Godhead. Do the trees not live? Do the bellows of the blacksmith not breathe? All around us, do the beasts not eat and discharge semen? Men who are like dogs, hogs, camels, and asses praise those men who never listen to the transcendental pastimes of Lord Sri Krishna, the deliverer from evils. One who has not listened to the messages about the prowess and marvelous acts of the personality of Godhead, and has not sung or chanted loudly the worthy songs about the Lord, should be considered to possess ears like holes of snakes and a tongue like that of a frog. The upper portion of the body, though crowned with a silk turban, is only a heavy burden if not bowed down before the personality of Godhead, who can award mukti, freedom. And the hands, although decorated with glittering bangles, are like those of a dead man if not engaged in the service of the personality of Godhead, Hari. The eyes which do not look at the symbolic representations of the personality of Godhead, Vishnu, his forms, names, qualities, etc., are like those printed on the plumes of a peacock. And the legs which do not move to the holy places where the Lord is remembered are considered to be like tree trunks. The person who has not at any time received upon his head the dust from the feet of a pure devotee of the Lord is certainly a dead body. And the person who has never experienced the fragrance of the tulsi leaves from the lotus feet of the Lord is also a dead body, although breathing. Certainly that heart is steel-framed, which in spite of one's chanting the holy name of the Lord with concentration, does not change and feel ecstasy, at which time tears fill the eyes and the hairs stand on end. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Krishna Prema ki jai. Text 32. The nectar from the lips of Lord Krishna and his transcendental qualities and characteristics surpass the taste of the essence of all nectar. And there is no fault in tasting such nectar. If one does not taste it, he should die immediately after birth, and his tongue is to be considered no better than the tongue of a frog. Text 33. One's nostrils are no better than the bellows of a blacksmith if one has not smelled the fragrance of Krishna's body, which is like the aroma of musk combined with that of the bluish lotus flower. Indeed, such combinations are actually defeated by the aroma of Krishna's body. Text 34. The palms of Krishna's hands and the soles of his feet are so cool and pleasant that they can only be compared to the light of millions of moons. One who has touched such hands and feet has indeed tasted the effects of touchstone. If one has not touched them, his life is spoiled, and his body is like iron. Text 35. Lamenting in this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu opened the doors of grief within his heart. Morose, humble, and disappointed, he recited a verse again and again with a despondent heart. Purport. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the word dainya, humility, is explained as follows. When unhappiness, fearfulness, and the sense of having offended combine, one feels condemned. This sense of condemnation is described as dinata, humility. When one is subjected to such humility, he feels physically inactive. He apologizes, and his consciousness is disturbed. His mind is also restless, and many other symptoms are visible. The word nirveda is also explained in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. One may feel unhappiness and separation, as well as jealousy and lamentation due to not discharging one's duties. The despondency that results is called nirveda. When one is captured by this despondency, thoughts, tears, loss of bodily luster, humility, and heavy breathing result. Vishada is also explained in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. When one fails to achieve his desired goal of life and repents for all his offenses, there is a state of regret called vishada. The symptoms of apasada are also explained. One hankers to revive his original condition and inquires how to do so. There are also deep thought, heavy breathing, crying, and lamentation, as well as changing of the bodily color and drying up of the tongue. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, 33 such destructive symptoms are mentioned. They are expressed in words, in the eyebrows, and in the eyes. These symptoms are called vyabhichari bhava, destructive ecstasy. If they continue, they are sometimes called sanchari, or continued ecstasy. Text 36. If by chance the transcendental form of Krishna comes before my path of vision, my heart, injured from being beaten, will be stolen away by Cupid, happiness personified. Because I could not see the beautiful form of Krishna to my heart's content, when I again see his form, I shall decorate the phases of time with many jewels. Purport. This verse is spoken by Srimati Radharani in the Jagannath Vallabha Nataka 3:11 of Ramananda Roy. Text 37. Whenever I had the chance to see Lord Krishna's face and his flute, even in dream, two enemies would appear before me. They were pleasure and Cupid. And since they took away my mind, I was not able to see the face of Krishna to the full satisfaction of my eyes. 38. If by chance such a moment comes when I can once again see Krishna, then I shall worship those seconds, moments, and hours with flower garlands and pulp of sandalwood, and decorate them with all kinds of jewels and ornaments. Text 39. In an instant, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu regained external consciousness and saw two persons before him. Questioning them, he asked, "Am I conscious? What dreams have I been seeing? What craziness have I spoken? Have you heard some expressions of humility?" Purport. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu thus spoke in ecstasy, he saw two persons before him. One was his secretary, Sarup Damodar, and the other was Roy Ramananda. Coming to his external consciousness, he saw them both present, and although he was still talking in the ecstasy of Srimati Radharani, he immediately began to question whether he was the same Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Text 40. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, "My dear friends, you are all my life and soul. Therefore I tell you that I possess no wealth of love for Krishna. Consequently, my life is poverty-stricken. My limbs and senses are useless." 41. Again he addressed Sarup Damodar and Roy Ramananda, speaking despondently, "Alas, my friends, you can now know the certainty within my heart. And after knowing my heart, you should judge whether I am correct or not. You can speak of this properly." Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then began to chant another verse. Text 42. Love of Godhead, devoid of cheating propensities, is not possible within this material world. If there is such a love, there cannot be separation. For if there is separation, how can one live? Purport. This is a verse in a common language called Prakrita, and the exact Sanskrit transformation is Kaitava Rahitam Prema Nahi Bhavati Manushe Loke Yadi Bhavati Kasya Viraho Vidahe Satyapiko Jivati. Text 43. Pure love for Krishna is pure love for Krishna, just like gold from the Jambu River, does not exist in human society. If it existed, there could not be separation. If separation were there, one could not live. Text 44. Thus speaking, the son of Srimati Shachimata recited another wonderful verse, and Ramananda Roy and Sarup Damodar heard this verse with rapt attention. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "I feel shameful to disclose the activities of my heart. Nonetheless, I shall be done with all formalities and speak from the heart. Please listen." Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, "My dear friends, I have not the slightest tinge of love of Godhead within my heart. When you see me crying in separation, I am just falsely exhibiting a demonstration of my great fortune. Indeed, not seeing the beautiful face of Krishna playing his flute, I continue to live my life like an insect without purpose." 46. Actually, my love for Krishna is far, far away. Whatever I do is actually an exhibition of pseudo-love of Godhead. When you see me cry, I am simply falsely demonstrating my great fortune Please try to understand this beyond a doubt. Text 47. Even though I do not see the moon-like face of Krishna as he plays on his flute, and although there is no possibility of my meeting him, still I take care of my own body. That is the way of lust. In this way, I maintain my fly-like life. Purport. In this connection, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that the lovable Supreme Lord is the supreme shelter. The Lord is the supreme subject, and the devotees are the object. The coming together of a subject and object is called alambana. Alambana. The object hears, and the subject plays the flute. That the object cannot see the moon-like face of Krishna and has no eagerness to see him is the sign of being without alambana. Externally imagining such a thing simply satisfies one's lusty desires, and thus one lives without purpose. Text 48. Love for Lord Krishna is very pure, just like the waters of the Ganges. That love is an ocean of nectar. That pure attachment to Krishna does not conceal any spot which would appear just like a spot of ink on a white cloth. Purport. Unalloyed love of Krishna is just like a big sheet of white cloth. Absence of attachment is compared to a black spot on that white cloth. Just as the black spot is prominent, so the absence of love of Godhead is prominent on the platform of pure love of Godhead. 49. Unalloyed love of Krishna is just like an ocean of happiness. If someone gets one drop of it, the whole world can drown in that drop. It is not befitting to express such love of Godhead, yet a madman must speak. But even though he speaks, no one believes him. Text 50. In this way, Lord Chaitanya used to revel in ecstasy day after day and exhibit these ecstasies before Sarup and Ramananda Roy. Externally, there appeared severe tribulation, as if he were suffering from poisonous effects, but internally he was experiencing bliss. This is characteristic of transcendental love of Krishna. 51. If one tastes such love of Godhead, he can compare it to hot sugar cane. When one chews hot sugar cane, his mouth burns, yet he cannot give it up. Similarly, if one has but a little love of Godhead, he can perceive its powerful effects. It can only be compared to poison and nectar mixed together. Text 52. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke, "My dear beautiful friend, if one develops love of Godhead, love of Krishna, the son of Maharaj, all the bitter and sweet influences of this love will manifest in one's heart. Such love of Godhead acts in two ways. The poisonous effects of love of Godhead defeat the severe and fresh poison of the serpent. Yet there is simultaneously transcendental bliss, which pours down and defeats the pride of nectar and diminishes its value. In other words, love of Krishna is so powerful that it simultaneously defeats the poisonous effects of a snake, as well as the happiness derived from pouring nectar on one's head. It is perceived as doubly effective, simultaneously poisonous and nectarian." Purport. This verse is spoken by Purnamasi to Nandimukhi in the Vidagdha Madhava 218 of Srila Rupa Goswami. Text 53. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would see Jagannath along with Balaram and Subhadra, he would immediately think that he had reached Kurukshetra, where all of them had come. He would think that his life was successful because he had seen the lotus-eyed one and thus pacified his body, mind, and eyes. 54. Staying near the Garudastamba, the Lord would look upon Lord Jagannath. What can be said about the strength of that love? On the ground beneath the column of the Garudastamba was a deep ditch, and that ditch was filled with the water of his tears. Purport. In front of the temple of Jagannath is a column on which the statue of Garuda is situated. It is called the Garudastamba. At the base of that column is a ditch, and that ditch was filled with the tears of your Lord. Text 55. After returning to his house from the Jagannath temple, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to sit on the ground and mark it with his nails. At such times he would be greatly morose and would cry, "Alas, where is Vrindavan? Where is Krishna, the son of the king of the cowherd men? Where is that person who plays the flute?" 56. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to lament by saying, "Where is Sri Krishna, whose form is curved in 3 places? Where is the sweet song of his flute, and where is the bank of the Yamuna? Where is the rasa dance? Where is that singing, dancing, singing, and laughing? Where is my Lord, Madan Mohan, the enchanter of Cupid?" 57. In this way, various ecstatic emotions evolved, and the mind of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu filled with anxiety. He could not escape even for a moment. In this way, because of fierce feelings of separation, his patience began to totter, and he began to recite various verses. Text 58. O my Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, O Friend of the helpless, you are the only ocean of mercy. Because I have not met you, my inauspicious days and nights have become unbearable. I do not know how I shall pass the time. Purport. This is a verse from the Caitanya-caritämrta 41 by Bilvamangal Thakur. 59. All these inauspicious days and nights are not passing, for I have not met you. It is difficult to know how to pass all this time, but you are the friend of the helpless and an ocean of mercy. Kindly give me your audience, for I am in a precarious position. Text 60. In this way, the Lord's restlessness was awakened by ecstatic feelings, and his mind became agitated. No one could understand what course such ecstasy would take. Because Lord Chaitanya could not meet the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, his mind burned. He began to ask Krishna about the means by which he could reach him. 61. O Krishna, O flute player, the sweetness of your early age is wonderful within these 3 worlds. You know my unsteadiness, and I know yours. No one else knows about this. I want to see your beautiful, attractive face somewhere in a solitary place, but how can this be accomplished? Purport. This is another quote from the Caitanya-caritämrta 32 of Bilvamangal Thakur. 62. My dear Krishna, only you and I know the strength of your beautiful features, and because of them, my unsteadiness. Now, this is my position. I do not know what to do or where to go. Where can I find you? I am asking you to give directions. Text 63. Because of the various kinds of ecstasy, contradictory states of mind occurred, and this resulted in a great fight between different types of ecstasy. Anxiety, impudence, humility, anger, and impatience were all like soldiers fighting, and the madness of love of Godhead, was the cause. Purport. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is stated that when similar ecstasies from separate causes meet, they are called Sarup Sandhi. When opposing elements meet, whether they arise from a common cause or different causes, their conjunction is called Bhinna Rupa Sandhi, the meeting of contradictory ecstasies. The simultaneous joining of different ecstasies, fear and happiness, regret and happiness, is called meeting, Sandhi. The word Shabalya refers to different types of ecstatic symptoms combined together, like pride, despondency, humility, remembrance, doubt, impatience caused by insult, fear, disappointment, patience, and eagerness. The friction that occurs when these combine is called Shabalya. Similarly, when the desire to see the object is very prominent, it is called Shabalya. Similarly, when the desire to see the object is very prominent, or when one is unable, I have to read this, I read that twice, didn't I? I made a mistake. I'm going to go back a couple of sentences. The word Shabalya refers to different types of ecstatic symptoms combined together, like pride, despondency, humility, remembrance, doubt, impatience caused by insult, fear, disappointment, patience, and eagerness. The friction that occurs when these combine is called Shabalya. Similarly, when the desire to see the object is very prominent, or when one is able to tolerate, or when one is unable to tolerate any delay in seeing the desired object, the incapability is called autsukya, or eagerness. If such eagerness is present, one's mouth dries up and one becomes restless. One also becomes full of anxiety, and hard breathing and patience are observed. Similarly, the lightness of heart caused by strong attachment and strong agitation of the mind is called impudence, chapalya. Failure of judgment, misuse of words, and obstinate activities devoid of anxiety are observed. Similarly, when one becomes too angry at the other party, offensive and abominable speech occurs, and this anger is called rosha. When one becomes impatient due to being scolded or insulted, the resultant state of mind is called amarsha. In this state of mind, one perspires, acquires a headache, fades in bodily color, and experiences anxiety and an urge to search out the remedy. The bearing of a grudge, aversion, and chastisement are all visible symptoms. 64. The body of the Lord was just like a field of sugar cane into which the mad elephants of ecstasy entered. There was a fight amongst the elephants, and in the process, the entire field of sugarcane was destroyed. Thus, transcendental madness was awakened in the body of the Lord, and he experienced despondency in mind and body. In this ecstatic condition, he began to speak as follows. O my Lord, O dearest one, O only friend of the universe, O Krishna, O restless one, O only ocean of mercy, O my Lord, O my enjoyer, O beloved to my eyes, alas, when will you again be visible to me? Purport. This is text 40 of the Caitanya-caritämrta. Text 66. The symptoms of madness served as an impetus for remembering Krishna. The mood of ecstasy awoke love, disdain, defamation by words, pride, honor, and indirect prayer. Thus Sri Krishna was sometimes blasphemed and sometimes honored. Purport. The word unmada is explained in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu as extreme joy, misfortune, and bewilderment in the heart due to separation. Symptoms of unmada are laughing like a madman, dancing, singing, performing ineffectual activities, talking nonsense, running, shouting, and sometimes working in contradictory ways. The word pranaya is explained thus: when there is a possibility of receiving direct honor, but it is avoided, that love is called pranaya. Srila Rupa Goswami, in his Ujjvala Nilamani, explains the word mana thus: when the lover feels novel sweetness by exchanging hearty loving words, but wishes to hide his feelings by crooked means, mana is experienced. Text 67. In the attitude of Radharani, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu addressed Krishna. My dear Lord, you are engaged in your pastimes, and you utilize all the women in the universe according to your desire. You are so kind to me. Please divert your attention to me, for by fortune you have appeared before me. Text 68. My dear Lord, you attract all the women of the universe, and you make adjustments for all of them when they appear. You are Lord Krishna, and you can enchant anyone, everyone, but on the whole, you are nothing but a debauchee. Who can honor you? 69. My dear Krishna, your mind is always restless. You cannot remain in one place, but you are not at fault for this. You are actually the ocean of mercy, the friend of my heart. Therefore, I have no reason to be angry with you. Text 70. My dear Lord, you are the master and the life and soul of Vrindavan. Kindly arrange for the deliverance of Vrindavan. We have no leisure hours away from our many activities. Actually, you are my enjoyer. You have appeared just to give me happiness, and this is one of your expert activities. Purport. The word vaidagya means that one is very expert, learned, humorous, cunning, beautiful, and skilled in manifesting caricatures. 71. Taking my words as defamation, Lord Krishna has left me. I know that he is gone, but kindly hear my prayers and praise. You are the satisfaction of my eyes. You are my wealth and my life. Alas, please, give me your audience once again. 72. There were different transformations of the body of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being stunned, trembling, perspiring, fading away of color, weeping, and choking of the voice. In this way, his whole body was pervaded by transcendental joy. As a result, sometimes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would laugh, sometimes cry, sometimes dance, and sometimes sing. Sometimes he would get up and run here and there, and sometimes fall on the ground and lose consciousness. Purport. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, 8 kinds of transcendental changes taking place in the body are described. Stamba, being stunned, refers to the mind's becoming transcendentally absorbed. In that state, the peaceful mind is placed on the life air, and different bodily transformations are manifest. These symptoms are visible in the body of an advanced devotee. When life becomes almost inactive, it is called stunned. The emotions resulting from this condition are joy, fear, astonishment, moroseness, and anger. In this condition, the power of speech is lost, and there is no movement in the hands and legs. Otherwise, being stunned is a mental condition. Many other symptoms are visible in the entire body, on the entire body in the beginning. These are very subtle, but gradually they become very apparent. When one cannot speak, naturally one's active senses are arrested, and the knowledge-acquiring senses are rendered inoperative. Kampa, trembling of the body, is mentioned in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu as a result of a special kind of fear, anger, and joy. This is called vepatu, or kampa. When the body begins to perspire because of joy, fear and anger combined, this is called sweda. Vaivarnya is described as a change of the bodily color. It is caused by a combination of moroseness, anger, and fear. When these emotions are experienced, the complexion turns pale, and the body becomes lean and thin. Ashru is explained in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu as a combination of joy, anger, and moroseness that causes water to flow from the eyes without effort. When there is joy and there are tears in the eyes, the temperature of the tears is cold. But when there is anger, the tears are hot. In both cases, the eyes are restless, the eyeballs are red, and there is itching. These are all symptoms of ashru. When there is a combination of moroseness, astonishment, anger, joy, and fear, there is a choking in the voice. This choking is called gadgada. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu refers to gadgada rudaya gira, or a faltering voice. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is described as joy, encouragement, and fear. When these combined, the hairs on the body stand on end, and this bodily state is called pulaka. Text 73. Actually, I'm going to stop there. I know it sounds cruel, because these verses are so nectarian, but it's a stopping place, and it goes on, so we're going to stop here. Hare Krishna. Very difficult to find words to reflect upon these symptoms of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which reflect the feelings of Srimati Radharani toward Krishna. There are perverted reflections of them. When we get angry, sometimes we lose our temper and maybe strike something or yell at somebody or do something foolish. But in those times, we forget everything. But these symptoms all force us to remember Krishna more and more and more and more. That is the basic difference. And also the fact that internally we feel blissful, but when we are in material consciousness and we experience these kinds of symptoms, we feel horrible. Okay, I'll stop here. Hare Krishna. Any reflections? Further discussion? Don't expect me to go too deeply into these things. They're very, very difficult to speak about.
From Sudevi Dasi.
Yes, Sudevi Dasi.
Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances, glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for your mercy and patience, for I am a slow student due to the fact that for years I had not read Srila Prabhupada's books consistently. However, I am perfectly situated in your presence, and I shall not let my ears become like the holes of a damaged conch shell.
You know why it says damaged conch shell? Hold on to that sentence. Because a conch shell is actually a very beautiful thing. And you know they use it to blow the conch shell and make a beautiful sound. But when it's damaged and you can't do either, then it's useless. That's why it says the ears are like the holes of a damaged conch shell. You can't make any nice sound. Sorry, go ahead.
I shall continue to hear and try to focus. I pray you will live a very long life. Thank you for all the energy you put into sharing all this nectar with us.
Well, thank you, Sudevi Devidasi. Thank you so much. Actually, it's what I live for. What you just said just now is what I live for. Not to be praised myself, but to give devotees relief from material anxiety and a taste of real transcendental life. So thank you for that. It's like last night. Sudevi is the one with the courage. Okay, I had two things that I had to do today, and I had my bi-weekly RP meeting, which is very intense preparation and intense discussion with the different members of the panel. And then I had to go and I had an appointment today also. So tomorrow is a intense day, and then the next day is Kadasi, my birthday. So that'll be an intense day for me also. So we'll stop here. Oh, wait, we have something.
Rati Manjari.
Rati Manjari, Hare Krishna. I thought you were partying in Radhadesh.
Says, Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my respectful obeisances. All glories to your daily readings, which are pulling the fortunate souls out of the material world. I am back from my retreat at Radhadesh.
Oh.
And have fallen into this pool of nectar mixed with poison.
There you go. Yeah, well, let us just pray that these descriptions of the reality of spiritual emotions, the wide spectrum of spiritual emotions, should remind us that the spiritual world is the farthest out place where the most intense loving exchanges go on. These material bodies, they're not capable of experiencing these kinds of things. They just cause the whole body to, the material reflection of them, the perverted reflection of them, causes nothing but difficulties in the body.
Rati Manjari had a question.
Yeah.
She says, to be honest, when I hear these descriptions of topics way beyond my league, I feel like an intruder who's hearing things that I'm not supposed to hear. How do I deal with this?
Keep hearing them, but don't dwell on them. Keep hearing them, trying to understand, but don't dwell on them. This is what is meant, again, we were talking about this last night, about incidental hearing. This is another aspect of incidental hearing, spoken by, or talked about by, discussed by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Even if these things are beyond our ability to understand, the transcendental sound will purify us and give us a taste of something higher. So if we're very careful and read them carefully and don't try to go to these places before we have the qualifications, but still appreciate them and marvel at them and try to understand. The combination of all those things will bring us to deeper and deeper levels of understanding. And when our heart finally becomes purified by the hearing of these things is pious. Just by hearing, we become pious. So therefore, we shouldn't stop hearing them just because we feel like we're intruding in some place where we don't belong. But don't dwell there, that's my point. Just keep hearing and appreciating and trying to understand. And never, ever, even in dreams, try to imitate or pretend that you have these symptoms. Otherwise, Srila Prabhupada would not have translated this book. And he would not have told us to pass it out on the streets. Imagine what that was like when we first got the Caitanya-caritämrta and we started passing them out on the streets in individual copies. I mean, it's just inconceivable. But Prabhupada knew that someone would hear, and many of us did. Many people did. So just keep trying sincerely. Be honest, be sincere. Follow the principles strictly. And you'll be taken by the hand by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, Srila Prabhupada, and all the great acharyas that are contributing to these purports, Srila Prabhupada's purports. Faith. What faith is love of Krishna that has been covered, and therefore our faith is placed in different objects and different things and different persons and different activities and different relationships. And as the faith strengthens in Krishna consciousness by the association of these literatures, in the association of those with faith, then the process of advancing in devotional service takes place. And that faith, and it's the same thing, It's the original love of the soul for Krishna. As it becomes uncovered from the material inebrities, gradually we can become, we can taste That's the process, to hear and chant in the association of pure devotees. We may not be perfect pure devotees, but if we don't have ulterior motives, then we can hear. And it will take us through the desire to serve and the purification that happens from serving and hearing and chanting while following the regulator principles. And then our anarthas will be removed and gradually will become fixed so that we will not deviate and we will be able to stay in the process and follow strictly everything. And then we will get a taste. From that taste comes these emotional feelings that cause these symptoms. And then bhava, the symptoms become manifest, the beginning of the symptoms become manifest, and then eventually full-blown love for Krishna, in which all these symptoms will be fully manifest. So we shouldn't jump ahead, we shouldn't try to imitate, shouldn't pretend we're something we're not, but we should go on hearing and chanting these great literatures, these transcendental literatures, in the company of other Vaishnavas who are similarly attached and attracted. This is the process. There's nothing more to it than this. And trying to give it to others, trying to tax the brain in how to distribute this nectar to others. That's it. Everything else is not so efficient. Hare Krishna.
Rati says, incidental hearing, yes, thank you, this is helpful. And then she's asking, what would you say to the people when you were distributing the CC books?
I would say all kinds of things. I was spontaneous. I didn't have any mantras or any special kinds of things. I would just try to be as spontaneous as possible. I would chant as much as possible and become as happy as possible and just try to give that happiness by being nice to people, by treating them like they were souls, and always praying to Lord Nityananda for his mercy upon them. What I said was insignificant. I don't even remember all the things I said, because it was, like I said, I didn't use mantras. It was mainly just meeting each person, and I would make comments on, how they were and how they looked and how nice it was to be with them, and then I would just ask them straight out, wouldn't you like to enjoy forever? Wouldn't you like to be happy? Or don't you want to be happy? Are you happy all the time? No? Why? Anyway, I would say so many things. I'm not a scientist like Vaisheshika Prabhu. He can explain to every word and what meaning of every word that he says to the people when he distributes these books. I'm more mad, I guess you could say. Not in spiritually mad.
She says it sounds like a happy recipe with a smiley face.
Yeah, that's what Radhanath Maharaj said. I didn't hear him say it, but when I heard him say it, I thought, yeah, that's what I tried to do. That's what I've always tried to do. He said, when Vaisheshika Prabhu asked him, what's the secret of your success? He says, stay blissful at all costs, at any cost. And really the way to do that is to absorb yourself in these topics. whether it be the very beginning philosophy or these, exhibitions of the innermost core of Lord Chaitanya's heart coming out. It's all different degrees and different varieties of the same thing. Gopi Pranadana Prabhu used to say, the wonders of merging into the oneness of spiritual variety. The wonders of merging into the oneness of spiritual variety. That's what it is. Everyone is united by the common interest of trying to please the senses of Krishna together. That's Vrindavan. Okay, I'll stop there tonight. Thank you very much, everyone, especially Rati. Welcome home, welcome back. Sri Caitanya-caritämrta ki jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol. We'll see you tomorrow night, same time, same place, same station. See you there. Hare Krishna.